Welcome to AAPC Social Hour for December 13th, 2023. And we are excited to be back. It is the holiday season. I have two newbies to Social Hour with me. John Piskowski. Did I pronounce that right, John?
Close enough, yes.
All right. Welcome, John. And Claire Stevenson. Hi, Claire.
Hi.
I am excited to get to know the both of you. We have just barely met, just minutes before going live, you guys. So we're gonna get to know a little bit more about Claire and John. We have some members joining us now. So Claire, John, just so you know, I'm watching the comments on Facebook on our live, and
Okay.
we'll just interact with our friends wherever they may be in the world. We've got Kate Wagger. Kate, hope you're doing well. Let us know where you're from, where you're at, and what the weather's like out there. I'm in this, as you guys know, suburbs of Salt Lake, and it's freezing. I'm not ready for this, but no turning back now. Claire, where are you?
I am in northern Idaho, so I bet I'm just as cold as you are, if not more.
Probably colder. Yes. Yeah. Oh boy. And we've had a few storms. It's nice to have the snow as we're in the holiday season. I love it. Just
Right.
great vibe. But yeah, so just trying to enjoy it. Do you have much snow on the ground out there, Claire?
Not right now. It snowed pretty good about a week ago, but then the rain came. It's just that time of year where it's,
Yeah.
all over the map. So,
Yep. Yep. John, where are you?
New Jersey.
All right.
We're
Well,
having a
you're
mild winter right now. Not a
really
lot of stuff going on.
okay. Do you dare wear shorts right now?
No, no, I'm
No,
not. I'm not.
not
I'm
that
not one of
warm.
those guys. No, it's gonna be heavy pants. Sometimes two or three pairs because it gets cold, just not snowy.
Yeah. Yeah. John, I see your list of credentials. It's very impressive. I have a lot we're going to get into that in a little bit as far as like how do you earn your CEUs? Why do you have so many? Do you consider it an illness that you want so many? But we'll get to more of that later. Claire, is your credential list as long?
no, not quite. I think I only have five at this point,
Okay. All right. Well,
but I'm planning to sit for my CRC soon,
all
so
right.
I'll be adding to it.
Hey, five is still very, very impressive.
Thanks.
And a common question that I see in the AAPC Facebook group, I don't know if you're in there, Claire and John, but something I see is how do I get CEUs how do I get them at all for free or low cost? And just to see how many you have, and Claire, I'm hearing how many you have. I'm curious to hear your strategies with that. But again, we'll get back to that. We've got some friends joining us. Kate Wagger is in Erie, Pennsylvania, chilly but sunny. John, it sounds like that might be what you would say you're feeling right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
chilly but sunny. Melissa Roberts is in Alaska, and she says snow, and I would expect nothing less than from someone in
Right.
Alaska now. Yeah. MK Cook, Louisiana, 60 and sunny. I think you guys know this too. Like when you go from 30s and 40s back into 60s, you're like, holy cow, it's summertime.
Right. Bust out the shorts.
That's right. That's right. So that sounds awesome. MK Cook. Angie Eichson, 40s in Nebraska, so chilly out there. I wonder if Nebraskans get snow. John, Claire, do you guys know?
I'm gonna go with yeah,
Yeah.
probably a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So let us know, Angie, if you guys get snow out there. Let's see, Stacy Baker Ford from Greenbrier, Tennessee. Thanks for being with us. Angela Dupuch, 47 in St. Louis. So, hey guys, thanks so much for being with us. I hope everybody's ready for the holidays. Um, I think it's the best time of the year. I love it. We're not ready at our house. Still have some things to take care of. But and kids will be on school break this time next week.
Right.
So, Claire, do you have a similar situation? Yeah.
Yeah, yep. I have well, I have twin 18-year-old boys. So one's in college, he'll be back, and the other one isn't. So he doesn't get to do winter break anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But my daughter will be on winter break. She's 16. So
Okay. All right. All right. John,
oh,
John,
there he went.
I think he warned us about that, and I think he'll be back with us in just a minute. Um, oh, there he is. Okay, he's just switching devices. Louise Sessions, Utah, sunny. Yep. Hey, Louise, where in Utah are you at? Love to hear. Angie told us, Angie in Nebraska says yes, lots of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I thought.
And there's John. Hey, John.
Sorry, computer issues as always.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, your view this time is more interesting. We see the shark behind you.
Yes, I caught it off the coast of Atlantic City.
Nice, nice. And you
Boardwalk.
stuffed it.
No, boardwalk prize. You know,
Oh,
I caught.
boardwalk prize. Okay. It was pre-stuffed.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, we're gonna dive into who you guys are. Well, first off, you guys are part of the AAPC coding committee,
Right.
is what
The
I believe
coding
you said.
advisory committee.
Okay. I'd love to hear more about that. I have spoken to several people, individuals from several different committees. I did not know there was a coding committee. And I want to learn more about that, hear about your guys' role with that, and what you have, what you're working on. But right now, we're going to bring Dr. Ron Short Dr. Ron Short, who has a few articles in Healthcare Business Monthly recently, and Lee Fifield from our publishing team. They're coming in right now. And let's see here. Oh, Louise Sessions in Salt Lake City. So, yeah, not far from me. All right. Hi, Lee.
Hello.
How are you?
Not too bad. How you doing?
We are great. We're just talking about holiday prep. Are you ready to go for your parties and festivities?
Oh, yeah. I don't have any like big parties this time, but I'm like 95% done with Christmas shopping and about
Okay.
70% done with wrapping. So I'm
All
I'm
right.
happy.
That's right. I love it. Dr. John, or sorry, Dr. Where are you? He disappeared.
Dr.
Okay.
Short.
Yeah, Dr. Short. Yes. Dr. Short just stepped away. We're trying to get him in here. He has a few articles about chiropractic coding. But Lee, while we wait for the doctor to join us, would you tell us about what's happening with Healthcare Business Monthly?
Sure. So as some of you may or may not know, the name of the magazine is changing from Healthcare Business Monthly to AAPC the magazine, with some style and color updates and things of that nature that go along with the change. The format of the magazine has not changed. There will still be the same types of articles each month, but it just kind of got a bit of a facelift and streamlined a few kind of style points. I think people will be pretty happy with the look of it, and that starts with the January issue.
Okay. All right. Why? Why did we make this change, Lee? Do you know?
There were certain things that went into it. Some layout issues, some say like ADA issues as far as color schemes and things of that nature. So there's some things that are kind of maybe a little more technical. It wasn't that we were unhappy with the magazine. Again, just kind of tightening up the look of things and the layout of things to make it easier to see and read and so forth.
Okay. And I think that maybe it represents AAPC better just by saying, okay, we are AAPC and this magazine is AAPC and about our membership and who we do and who we support.
Correct.
Dr. Short,
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I am fine. How are you, sir?
I am great. You are live on AAPC Social Hour. Just wanted to give you that warning.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But we are excited to hear about you and learn about you. So you have an article in this month's Healthcare Business Monthly, and I believe one in last month's as well, called a series, Understanding Chiropractic. You must be a chiropractor.
Yes, I am.
All right. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what led to this series of articles in Healthcare Business Monthly?
Uh, well, you don't really know where to start with something like this, but I guess it started. Um, I had purchased a practice just in 2007, which is now, in hindsight, now it's just the ultimate in bad timing. But during that time, I had become certified in compliance. And then 2008 hit, and I wasn't able to maintain the practice, so I gave it back to the person I bought it from. And I was sitting there trying to decide, well, now what do I do now? And the OIG very conveniently issued a report on chiropractic that just, after I read through it, it just angered me because they had painted chiropractors, as either half the profession is either fraudulent or too stupid to know how to document. And I thought, okay, now there's got to be something wrong here, because I know chiropractors are not stupid and I know they're not fraudulent. So it has to be an understanding of the regulations. And that started me working on a process of learning the regulations and getting them out to the profession and translating them into actions doctors could take to improve their documentation and better deal with Medicare and with insurance and and as I worked through this, the more I worked through this, the more I realized it's not just the chiropractors. The insurance people, are denying claims that are fine. They're saying that visits are not medically necessary, that are just fine. So there has to be a lack of understanding on the part of the reviewers too. And the more I talked to them, the more I realized that was the case. Whenever a reviewer looks at a visit from a medical doctor, they're looking at an E&M visit, regardless. That's not the case with the chiropractor. There are a few E&M visits in there, but most of the time they're looking at treatment visits, and that looking at one of those and determining the medical necessity of care would be like taking all the notes that are generated after the patient takes one pill in a course of amoxicillin and determines if that course of amoxicillin is medically necessary. You can't really do that. So I've been working on ways to communicate this, to explain it so that reviewers can understand. These articles are a result of that. Earlier this year, I did a 1-hour webinar on chiropractic and understanding it. February 27th, we have a workshop, 4-hour workshop scheduled on reviewing chiropractic claims through the AAPC. I'm real excited about that, and I'm just now finishing a book on auditing chiropractic claims. So I'm working on the tools necessary for everyone to understand what's going on and to work better with it.
Awesome. I love it. Claire, John, do either of you have experience coding for chiropractic care?
I do not.
Okay.
I worked for a chiropractor when I was 17.
Okay. All right. So you know that road a little bit. John, tell us about your experience with that. And have you experienced any of the challenges that Dr. Short speaks of?
Yeah, when you're doing chiropractic, and it's one of my earlier jobs in my coding career, is I was an office manager for a small chiropractic physical therapy office, and it was it was maybe two doctors, one physical therapist and one chiropractor. So I was doing management stuff as well as all the coding and billing and A&R. So when it comes to that, a lot of the notes are like handwritten drawings. Like I was brought on when it was in the EMR transition. Everything was going from paper to electronic. So a lot of notes for chiropractic are images of the human body, of the lumbar, thoracic, cervical spine, with like handwritten notes, like where the issue is, where there's most subluxation, and not so much any kind of like like audible an audible documentation like you would see in the E&M note. It's pretty much like it's kind of drawn out like it's a physical therapy note. So when they're treated, it's not like they would do a full dictation. Oh, there's actual pain in the lumbars and there's difficulty. They would draw it out and then would go on with therapy because that's where a lot of time was spent. They're not doing it to evaluate, they're doing it to treat. And it's mainly treatment with maybe 1% evaluation time. Would you say that's about accurate or smart? Like a short?
Yeah, here's how I've laid it out to explain it to non-chiropractors. Chiropractic care is episodic. It starts with an E&M visit, and that E&M visit is a standard visit. And from the time when you started, when you worked in the chiropractor's office to now, things have improved quite a lot. There have been, I'm not the only one that's been teaching the profession about how to properly document. And now the way we do it is we start with an E&M visit, and it's like a standard MD, chiropractor, osteopath, doesn't matter. E&M visit is the same thing. We get to know the patient. We do the exams. We do the subjective, the objective. We write the assessment. We make the plan. Then we have 30 days of treatment visits. And that's where we execute the plan. You cannot take a single treatment visit and determine medical necessity from that. But then at the end of that 30 days, you do another E&M visit. You determine how the patient's progressed and if they need more care. And there are tools that we use. There are thresholds on those tools that say, yes, the patient has a significant problem. Yes, they've made significant improvement. Yes, they need more care. No, they don't. And to determine medical necessity, you take the E&M visit before, all the treatment visits, the E&M visit after. You look at that as a whole, and from that you determine what's the care medically necessary. And it's very clear once you understand it.
I love this because I have not seen many interviews or a lot of content from AAPC about chiropractic care. So, Dr. Short, I'm sure that there will be many who see this discussion and read your articles and be inspired and appreciate your guidance. In the December issue of Healthcare Business Monthly is part 2, knowing the episode of Care Paradigm will help the proper chiropractic documentation review. What can our readers expect next month in January?
I would have to look up the article.
Question.
You might have that closer to you than I do on what the title is on that one. I think it's proving medical necessity, if I remember correctly.
Okay. All right. Sorry to catch you off guard with that.
My apologies. I should have prepared better.
That's all right. What was the first article about, Doctor?
That was just explaining the differences between chiropractic, kind of what is chiropractic? What does it do? A recent Gallup poll, chiropractic, about 16% of the population is actively going to a chiropractor at any given time. But 51% of the population has at some point in time in their life gone to a chiropractor. And that's very significant. So chiropractic is, we've been around almost 130 years now. Many times we've been the doctor of last resort. We've been able to help patients when other doctors can't. There have been some studies done that show that for an orthopedic surgeon, their success rate goes up almost about 95%. It goes to 95, around 95%. If before they determine surgery, they send them to a chiropractor for 6 weeks of care first, because that weeds out the people that are not actually surgical candidates. So we have our place and we're not going away. And so it just behooves us to for everyone to get on the same page and to understand what they're looking at, and for us to understand what you guys need to see, and for you guys to understand better what we're putting out and how to interpret it.
Awesome. I love it. If our viewers have more questions about coding for chiropractic care, can they find you on LinkedIn, or how would they connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn.
I do see your phone number and
Yeah.
email on the art at the bottom
The
of the
phone number
article.
and email are on the article, and I'm happy to answer questions. On LinkedIn, I'm still in the Luddite category. I don't quite know what I'm doing there.
That's okay.
Someone said get there, and I did, and that was about as far as it went. But my email is chiromedicare@gmail.com.
Okay.
And
then
I am happy to answer anyone's questions.
I love it. That email is again mentioned or listed at the bottom of Dr. Short's article in the December, well, like November, December, and coming up in January. Dr. Short, I'm curious, has earning your CPC and CPCO helped you in your chiropractic care business? Because I love hearing clinicians stepping into this world. How has it helped you?
It's helped me to understand more of what reviewers want to see. There, as with any doctor versus reviewer situation, there's an antagonistic type of atmosphere there, and it's helped me to understand that that's not really the case. They're trying to figure it out, we're trying to figure it out, and there needs to be a meeting of the minds. But I understand a lot more what needs to be done, why it needs to be done. It's it has just broadened my horizons, and it's helped me to understand that I need to supply the right information if I want to. Getting paid is not the problem. Keeping the money is the problem. And if I want to keep the money, I need to supply the right information in the right format.
Would you recommend other clinicians, specifically chiropractors, take a step down this path and maybe earn the CPC certification?
I would I recommend that they I'm not sure that earning a CPC would be as helpful to them as to having one of your staff earn CPC and having a CPC on staff. I think that would be incredibly beneficial to a chiropractor. And that just because when I talk to most of them, they don't really see the value of it. They just want somebody like me to tell them what to do. And like every doctor that we've all talked to, they what are the 3 codes I need to use to get paid? That's what they want from me. And I know we've all had that. Excuse me. But I recommend that they learn, that they get with AAPC, and they take some of the webinars and they get familiar with what is going on here, and seeing the world through the eyes of the coders and the reviewers, and get a better understanding that way. I do recommend that very highly.
All right, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm going to jump over to Lee. Lee, is there an article from the December Healthcare Business Monthly that really stood out to you?
Yes, but before I answer that though, I will just say really quickly, part 3 of Dr. Short's series will be the final part, which is coming up, and it will cover routine treatment visits, exams and re-examinations, documentation requests, and abnormalities in documentation. So I just want to put that out there. And again, look for his contact information in the bio section. Okay. That said, I really liked the USP STF recommends anxiety screening is the title of it. The task force has published recommendations just lately back in June on screening for anxiety, and I think we all know there's been quite an upsurge in mental health issues in the past 4 years, and kind of heading them off at the pass, as it were, is important before they become bigger issues, which then is a drag on the system, as we've also seen. There's just mental health practitioners are very, very busy, and to screen for those things at the PCP level, I think is important. And so I was happy to see that in the magazine.
Love it. Well, Lee, thanks for giving us the info on the update, the name change to the magazine. Someone in the comments, if I can find them again, Penny says, as someone with a vision disability, I thank you. So hopefully this is a good step forward for those who have disabilities. Lee, anybody can write for Healthcare Business Monthly. Doesn't matter if you're a student member or a veteran coder.
Correct. The whole purpose of our magazine is to have it kind of member based. We want members to write articles. Members know what other members want to see. They know the issues that are out there. So if you have any expertise in anything from coding to practice management, to compliance, even soft skills and exam tips. We're always looking for those. So please think about writing for us, and you can download your articles right on the website.
Okay, I just shared the link in the comments. So if anybody watching has an inkling to write for the magazine, take that step forward. Lee and the publishing team are awesome in providing guidance and helping you along that path.
Alex, can I interject something here?
You bet.
This is my first time writing an article for the AAPC for the magazine. I trust it will not be my last, but I do want to say that Lee is just fantastic to work with as an editor. And if you're having some hesitancy about writing an article, don't. This lady will help you get it right and get it into a really good format. She's done a great job with my articles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
And if you ever need to reach out to me or Renee Dustman with any questions, our emails are right at the beginning of every magazine. I encourage you to reach out if you need to.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us, Lee. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Short. We look forward to your article, your concluding article in this series next month.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. That was very informative. I hope there are some chiropractic coders out there who found that useful, and check out the last, well, November, December, and upcoming January issues to learn more about that, and hopefully it'll help you along. Okay, I need to know more about Claire and John. So first, Claire, I'm going to start with you. How long have you been a member of AAPC, and what led you into this career field?
So I got my CPC back in November of 2014. And it was kind of funny. I had a completely different career trajectory. I was working at a radio station, totally different. But I was looking for a change because I was moving to be closer to family. And oddly enough, a friend, my boys had a friend whose mom was a coder. And she said, gosh, our boys get along so well. You know, they have really similar mindsets. Maybe you have a really similar mindset to me. Maybe you should look into coding. And I was like, okay. So
That was it.
really random, but it worked out.
Wow. What specialty, or what is your specialty now? What kind of coding work do you do?
I have done a lot. Currently, I kind of switched gears fairly recently, and I am doing fraud, waste, and abuse auditing. But prior to that, I've done inpatient coding, outpatient, surgical, clinical profi, you name it. I've almost done, except for chiropractic, apparently. But
Everything else, though.
everything else, yeah.
What are the 4 other credentials that you hold?
So I have the COC, my CIC, of course, and CPMA, and the CDEO.
Okay. All right. John, how about yourself? How long have you been an APC member for, and what led you down this path?
Well, I've been in coding since 2009, but I've been with AAPC since about 2014. I actually, well, my background's in economics, and I was living in Florida. I worked for this really big race car company, and then met my wife, and we moved to New Jersey, and there's no big company in racetracks anywhere near where we moved. So her family's all in healthcare. I was kind of pushed toward healthcare in some way, shape, or form that was related to economics. Billing was really the only option. So I took a billing course, took a coding course, got certified through the NHHA, certified billing coding specialist, and then did a lot of work doing AR, worked for a chiropractic office. Finally landed a job with a heart and lung hospital in New Jersey. It was one of those. It was one of those schools where it was a hospital/education facility where they had residents and they taught cardiology specifically. And I grew to love cardiology. And I actually started auditing medical records before I started coding. So I was an auditor before, like on my auditing certification as my first certification through the AAPC, 2014. Then I started coding after that. And then, like you said, it became a disease, became an addiction.
Yes. Well, one thing that's fascinating is the 2 of you have such vastly different paths into healthcare.
Right.
And I feel like when I'm reading comments from newly credentialed members in the Facebook group, I feel like sometimes those students or new members, they are looking for like a cookie cutter path, but there isn't. Everybody kind of takes their own path, and you never know, it might be a neighbor or a friend of a friend that leads you into healthcare.
It's true.
So, so you are part of the coding. Oh, I wrote this down. Remind me again. Coding, not code. There's coding something committee.
Advisory.
Advisory.
Coding
Okay.
advisory.
What is that? What does that mean? And how do you help APC members?
All right, I'll take this one. Coding Advisory Committee it's a range of people within our committee that are experts in their own field of coding. There's many topics in coding. You have your inpatient, you have your outpatient, you have surgical, you have primary care, and you have E&M coding, you have compliance, and you have auditing, and you have documentation improvement. When it comes to coding, we lump all of those coding specific kind of skill sets into one group. So we have a handful of people that are in our group, like Claire, who's skilled in outpatient and inpatient, like coding for a facility. And then you have people like me, like Linda. I'm sorry, Linda Renner, who's also on the committee. She is also skilled in a lot of surgical aspects. We have we have other members that are skilled in a lot of risk coding and auditing, as well as other surgical specialties, where we're all kind of like one cohesive unit, but different expertise levels. So what we do is we create content for the AAPC when it's needed. We were mentioning you when we were speaking to Lee earlier about how they want readers to write articles. They want people that have experience to write articles about what they know. Well, when they feel there's an urgent need and none of those articles come in, they usually ask us, "Hey, can you write something up or maybe create some content related to this topic because we feel there's a need for it and we need to help inform AAPC members about this specific coding project or this specific coding topic." And that's where we come in. We have a lot of ongoing projects that are kind of one rolls into the next. Um, but we do a lot of other things besides articles. We have webinars coming up. We did an Ask and Learn last year, and that's what a lot of the committees do. Just making sure that we advise other coders through content creation.
Okay. And one of these specialties or um, highlights that you've been working on is an upcoming webinar on chronic, or is it an article on chronic pain management?
That's an article. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that, Claire. Or
We're
is that your article?
I'm helping John and myself and Kelly. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name.
Her name is Kelly Ninjali.
Yes, there we go. It's really her baby, but John and I are contributing. But basically just what chronic pain management looks like, what treatment options can consist of, what the course of care might look like. So yeah.
All right. And what other topics are in the queue for you guys? What are some of the highlights that you guys are working on right now?
The webinar that will be coming out at the end of January is going to be an overview of Category 3 codes. Not necessarily a lot of coders have a lot of knowledge about Category 3 codes. It doesn't necessarily come into play for everybody. So I think it would be great to have just a broad understanding for everybody of what they are, how they come to be, what their life cycle is, why they exist. So that's everything that we're going to be covering in that webinar.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Now, I want to, we're going to kind of mix it up here when we're going to go back to some of the things that you're working on. But we spoke about this as we started our broadcast. You both have many credentials, and there are many people who are struggle to get their CEUs every CEU cycle. John, what is your strategy to earn your CEUs?
I do a lot of them through local chapter, like education sessions, a lot of meetings, and there's the HBM, the Healthcare Business Monthly. There's articles there. I have 11 certifications, and with that, I have to get a total of 52 CEUs every other year, every 2 years. So you have to know where to look, and you have to know what you need, and have to be able to track them. Their AAPC website has a great tracker. It helps me identify where I'm short and where I need to pick them up. But there are a lot of chapters out there, and there's a lot of external websites, and a lot of like external consulting groups and educators that do provide specific things to whatever certification you're looking for, whether it is core or it is specialty. They're out there. It just takes a little bit of legwork to find them.
How much do you spend out of pocket to earn some of your CEUs?
Typically, they range anywhere from well, for the ones that are not local chapter, because those are free.
Okay.
The health commitments monthly are free, but if you have to resort, like if you're in a pinch and it's the end of a year and you have to have them done, they range anywhere from $15 to $40. So like they are affordable. They're within reason if you know where to look. There's a lot of places out there that offer them, and you just have to, kind of shop around. And then
Oh, I was going to say, would you say that you earn that most of the CEUs you earn are free or paid?
I would say free. Yeah,
Okay.
I spend a lot of time scouring local chapter events, look for things that are of interest, and that will credit toward any of my certifications.
And this is from a man who has to earn 52 CEUs every cycle. That's a lot. All right. Hey, Claire, how do you handle that? How do you handle your CEUs?
I agree with John. Local chapter is really the easiest, most accessible, and cheapest because free is the best price. You know, and then lots of consulting firms do have webinars you can sign up for, CMS. Personally, I have been very lucky. My employer has sent me to HealthCon, has paid pretty much for the CEUs that I need. But that has changed because I've changed employers. So now I'm going to be looking for those free
All right.
CEUs. So, but yeah, everything John said is really the best way to go. I do enjoy the webinars, and honestly, I think that the AAPC webinar subscription is a great deal, honestly, because you do get a wide variety, and it's over the course of a year. When you consider how much, when you break it down month by month, is really not that expensive.
John talked about being in a pinch and having to
Right,
maybe buy a webinar or something. And I feel like that's where some people may get in trouble is not staying on top of it,
right.
and then they are in a rush to fulfill their requirement. But just for our viewers, if you didn't know, you can earn CEUs from Healthcare Business Monthly magazine. There's a quiz if you just go to the Healthcare Business Monthly, or I'm sure it'll be changing to AAPC, the magazine, next month. But there's CEUs related to that are free. And then we have webinars that are for free. You can find them on the website too. You have to be logged into your member account. I was looking yesterday and I believe there were 5 there. So 5 free webinars. You just watch those video presentations, and then you can earn some CEUs from there. So lots of ways. John, what is the hardest credential to get a CEUs for? Because for some of these specialties, you have to have education that relates to those, I believe.
Well, the hardest one, believe it or not, I would have to say orthopedics. Don't see a lot of orthopedic coders out there presenting webinars. I have the orthopedic certification, and that's one I really have to hunt for. I do have I do have certifications for cardiology. There's a lot out there for cardiology and cardiothoracic and interventional radiology. The orthopedics is a little underserved, I think.
Okay, that's good to know. How about yourself, Claire?
I would say probably my CDEO, because it's pretty specialized. But honestly, it's actually not that hard. If you find a webinar that's approved for your CPMA, odds are it'll be approved for your CDEO as well. So I haven't had too hard of a time finding anything. I don't think my credentials are nearly as specialized as John's.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I think this will be very helpful to those new coders who are just trying to get traction and figure out the system and how it all works. And I think the biggest message is just to stay on top of it. I know several other multi-credentialed members who, as soon as they start their new CEU cycle, those first 3 months, they're really hitting it hard. So they don't have to worry about it later down the road, and time just passes by in the blink of an eye. I'd just like to address Brenda Palacios, and she is just she's speaking about frustration about a comment made in I'm not sure if it's a webinar, but she says she recently took an online fee CEU quiz, and there were and did not like a comment that was in there. Says not sure who approved the comment, but it was said that newly trained coders are better to hire because they have less bad habits than those seasoned coders have. Yeah, Brenda, I see your comment. I want you to know, I've heard that. I'm not a coder, so I can't say if employers um, find truth in that or not. But I'm going to reach out to you and then just get a little bit more information about what presentation that was and see what we can do about that. All right. A few comments from Category 3 codes. Rachel Williford says, and a Category 3 codes are important to establish utilization of the service to eventually create a new Category 1 code.
Right.
Okay. Jonah Nesbitt says it's great that there will be a Category 3 webinar. Thank you. And yeah, so I'm not familiar with Category 3 codes, and it's nice to see that you're fulfilling a need.
Right.
How does this committee determine what needs there are? Do you guys send out surveys to members, or is it just you're seeing what's happening in the industry and just addressing those things?
Well,
We go ahead, John.
Sure. We get a lot of requests. Like we get requests from AAPC people. Sorry, when I say AAPC people, we people that work for AAPC, whether it be the National Advisory Board, have identified that there is information that needs to be presented in a very timely manner, or even the editorial team at the magazine. They're like, we have a wish list of things that we would like to see, but we haven't seen it yet. So, like, here's a list of things that possibly could be, key topics for you to write about. And there's other ways. What do you think, Claire, are some of the other ways we get work?
Well, I think if anybody within the committee has a topic that they really think needs to be addressed, that definitely is taken into consideration. But we really do get a lot of input from what AAPC feels the needs that need to be addressed are. They send us, hey, here's the wish list, and we go from there on what we feel would be the strongest for our team to address.
Awesome. I love that. LaShanta asks or says that for her, the toughest CEUs to earn, we're kind of jumping all over. I apologize, you guys. But she says that CPCI is a difficult CEU to earn. She asks, what is the best place to get credits for CPCI? John, what's your approach?
Well, I use the workshops. APC workshops are one of the areas where they are approved for CTUs. I try to stick to the ones that are education related. When she's talking about that certification, that's the one for when you're an instructor. So a lot of the CTUs, certified teaching units, are ones that you have to take that kind of improve you as a speaker, an educator, or kind of presenting material. So like I try to stick to those workshops that offer those, but you can also take courses in Excel, PowerPoint, Word document, teaching, public speaking. It's like these kind of things, as long as they are kind of where you have some kind of paper that clearly delineates how much time you spent learning it, and they can equate that to like 1 hour of time. Because again, we have to have 8 hours every year actually. So every 2 years is 16, but it's every year we have to track them. And I just finished mine. I was one of those person that was in a pinch because I lose track of it. But yes, there's if you go to the website for the instructor, there's a list of places you can go and recommendations of what would qualify for those units.
Okay. John, do you feel like your many credentials have helped you in your career as far as not only in professional knowledge, but helped you evolve as a coder and maybe helped you in your earnings and career advancement?
Yeah. There's a quote out there. that I remember from some literary novel that a man is not an island. Well, an organ system is not an island. There's overlap. There's interaction. So if you specialize in, say, orthopedics, okay, there's going to be vascular involvement. When there's any kind of surgery, when you're reading an op note, you're going to see anatomical statements made about the arteries, the veins. So it's good to know. And if you find that you have a firm understanding of it, possibly something you want to look at learning because of, there are cases with orthopedics that have to deal with a lot of heavy vascular issues. Like there is one code for wound exploration, which includes any kind of repair of arteries, veins for any penetrating wound. Like you have to know that. And the same goes with any other surgery or any other service. So cardiology, when you do any open chest procedures, you have to excise an area of the ribs, knowing the bones, knowing how many ribs there are. Do the sternum, you have to be able to understand anatomical reference. So sometimes, taking the effort to go beyond your normal practice to, learn these other specialties is going to help you become an expert in your field. Because again, there's no organ system that does not interact with another one. So that's how I got started. I actually started at Heart and Lung Hospital, and I didn't learn cardiology until after my main CPC, but I got that one. And then I got cardiothoracic. And then somebody said, well, you're good at that. How about general surgery? Can you learn general surgery, wound closures, hernia repairs? And then it went from there. Well, hernia repairs, can you learn GI? GI, can you learn urology? These. We just hired an orthopedist. We've seen that you tackle these. Can you do it? Sometimes the motivation and when your employers see that you take the steps, that doesn't go unnoticed. So like if you take the effort and you're willing, like there's a lot of places that will hire somebody that's multifaceted just because they're a good source of inspiration for other coders and they can bounce ideas off each other. There's a lot of places that they have only one code in orthopedics. There's only one way of coding, the way that one coder does it. But if there's two, sometimes they can collaborate and help each other in a pinch, and that's why you used to have. Don't feel that you're tied down to one specific area. If you feel you want to learn it, do it.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, John. Tammy or Claire, this is a question from Tammy Hayden, and I want your opinion on this. She says, I'm thinking of getting another certification and trying to choose between the CRC, which I think, Claire, you're going down that path.
Getting ready to sit for, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've been studying for it. All right.
Yep,
She says she's choosing between the CRC and the CDEO, which you currently have. She currently has a CCA, CPC, and CPMA. Is there any, or are there any recommendations between these two? I'm thinking about moving into auditing or management in the future. Thoughts, Claire?
So CRC is really, if you're looking to go into risk adjustment, obviously you need it. And I did actually work as a coding manager for a period of time. And it is something that I would consider like, wow, this person really knows their diagnosis codes in and out because I did not do risk adjustment coding, but to me, that's like, this person's going to be really well-versed in their diagnosis coding. But if she's looking to go into auditing, gosh, it's kind of a toss-up. CDEO really helped me out more on the facility side of things. So I guess it depends on what she's looking to go in auditing for. If she is doing prophy, family med, internal med, anything like that, the CRC may be more beneficial.
So there's no right or wrong, or
there's no right or wrong.
One thing that's going to magically take her career to another level. Okay.
It's all going to give you more education, more knowledge, and I'm all for that. So
okay. Awesome. Well, I think sometimes just talking it through or hear someone talk it through helps create that path. So thanks for your feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
Claire. And we're winding down. Time flew. Rachel Williford asked, how does one get involved with the coding committee? John?
Well, I was asked, This is something that when I first began coding, I caught the attention of a person at the AAPC who saw how I was on LinkedIn and I was on Facebook and I was doing a lot of kind of mentoring on the side, and I was very vocal in how I approached new coders and how I was helpful. And he's like, I think you would be a good person to lead this new committee that we're trying to revive.
Was that Craig Larson?
Craig Larson, yes.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Craig. Everybody's gonna message you now. You keep going, John.
So he said we're trying to like relaunch this new committee that we've had going for years that kind of fell by the wayside, and it's just geared toward helping coders connect with each other and get a grasp of information that's really not talked about a lot. And we're all about community. Like that's one thing. It's mainly when like we try to touch on every topic that way all coding is looked at, whether you're outpatient, inpatient, OBGYN. Every different topic is kind of has something related to it that we discuss, and we try to leave no stone unturned. But we were all asked based on our experience. I had a list of people when I did recruit for the committee, like these are ones that approved. This person's a no, this person's a no, but it's all based on whether you are considered an expert. And there is some kind of qualifying measures that you have to go through. There's testing, and there, and before you're even thought about getting you have to pass a test and you have to be kind of screened. And there's a lot of that. And we've all went through a lot of rigorous screening before this even began. I've been what we call an SME for years before I was even brought on to the committee. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of putting yourself out there. Like once you're identified as an expert in a field, then you're brought on as an SME, and then you're now a candidate if there's an opening for one of these committees.
That's very informative. Rachel, if you are interested in that and exploring being a part of the coding committee or one of AAPC's other committees, feel free to reach out to me on my Facebook profile, AAPC Alex, and just send me a direct message and I'll make a connection for you. Happy to do that. All right. I'm just going to go do a quick scan of the comments as we're winding down. All right. I love it when everybody's helping each other out. Thanks so much for that. All right, you guys, we did it. Thank you everybody for watching. I love the comments where people share how much they appreciate and interesting comment that one of our co-hosts have shared. Sandy Koch says very interesting and informative when John was sharing some information, and when we're talking about CEUs, that really resonated with a lot of people. Melissa Roberts says Codify has free CEUs as well. That is our encoder tool, so take a look at that. So many ways, and if you're not getting most of them for free, it's your own fault. So yeah, stay on top of it, especially if you're a CPC. You should just stay on top of those CEUs. You can earn them pretty quick. And again, I'd be happy to help you and help direct you towards that if you're struggling to find some of the resources that I shared that are on the AAPC website. Again, you can just reach out to me on the AAPC Alex Facebook profile. All right, Claire, John, stick with me just for a minute. Everybody else, as we wrap this up, I will see you again on December 27th, and many of you may be on your holiday break, but that is our next episode or broadcast, and it will be our last one of the year. As always, you can listen to you can listen to this on the AAPC podcast. Just search for the AAPC podcast in your favorite podcast app. Or this broadcast will live on the AAPC Facebook page. We'll also get it posted on the AAPC YouTube channel in the coming days. All right, everybody, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.